Charts of the day today brought to us courtesy of the St. Louis Fed, link in the box. It's household sector liabilities, household credit market outstanding, basically US household debts. US household debts. We start in 1950, where the average US household owed bugger all $1 billion. In 1960 they owed very little. In 1970 they owed very little. It took till after the big recessions of the early 80s before they went through the barrier of owing altogether over $2 trillion, $2,000 billion, which is $2 trillion. After the recession of the early 1990s, they had broken through $4 trillion. After the recession of the dot-com crash, here they owed $8 trillion, and ramped up during this century to near $14 trillion. And as you can see, it's just hooked over here. For the first time ever, it's hooked down in this recession, this current recession. So let's go to another chart which is related to the first one. Same, it's you can click from one to the other on the St. Louis Fed, because it's the same information, just presented differently. 1950 to the present day, household sector liabilities, household credit market debt outstanding, household debts. And this is how it's ramped up year over year, the percentage. This is our zero line, where it wouldn't have gone up at all. And here we can see the 10% line. So we can say that that 10% line runs from 1955 all the way up to 2008. So back here on this chart, although it looks crazy, and crazy it is, it represents an increase of approximately, on average, 10% year on year increase in household debts of American households until the year 2007. Now this recession we're in, this grey bar, nice fat grey bar, if you remember, they decided about here that the recession had started back here. So it wasn't until here that the mainstream media and FBER said, okay, the recession started here. So we've got a year gap at least, maybe even two. It's hard to calculate from this chart. Let's say 18 months from this starting to fall down to it being totally recognized that the United States was in recession, and then they backdated it to here. And from here the increase was over 10%, and it had fallen through the 10% mark and down to about 5%, and down here at 2.5%, down here to 0. The debt was not increasing at all. It was about the time that they thought, hellfire, this is a recession, and backdated it to here. And subsequently the debt has started to go into negative figures. As we can see on this one, it's starting to turn downwards in actual numbers. But this inflation is incredible. That it starts at 0 through 1970, 2 trillion here, 4 trillion here, 8 trillion here, 14 trillion here. And I think the takeaway from this is, where do you think all this money was going? All this increase, 10% year on year for 50 years. It was going in debt and interest payments to the banks. And it would have gone on as debt and interest payments to the banks. But here, the United States households just hit the wall and couldn't go on anymore. And it's caused this recession and this letting go of credit, trying to pay back credit, and quite frankly, defaulting and bankruptcy. I'll leave it there. Thanks. Bye.